Welcome or welcome back. I'm the Ink Archivist here today with the Truphae pen palette subscription. So Truphae offers 4 types of subscription boxes, and this is kind of the lowest tier out of all of them. They have a slightly more expensive one for ink, and then they have 2 for pens. One's like a premium version of it. I haven't tried any of these before. I generally don't like mystery box kind of things, but this one is $13 total, and you get 5 4-milliliter samples shipped directly to your house. So I think that price is quite good for a beefy sample like that. So thought it would be worth trying. This is kind of a first impressions. And I'll make this a series and I'll keep going as long as I keep enjoying what I'm getting. Now, of all the reviews I've seen, about like 95% of them have been the work appropriate ink series, so I think it's funny if that's what I get here today. Here we go. And also for your first purchase, you're supposed to get a glass dip pen. So we will see if I get that. Ooh. So there we have glass dip pen. Looks like it's still in piece. Heard some people say theirs have been damaged in shipping. And then what did we get here? So waterproof inks. Oh my. Might have to dunk these. So this looks like platinum lavender black, and they are, you can't really see that. They have numbers on the top to correspond to the card, which is nice, but if you get more than one of these, you know, you're gonna start mixing them up if you're not careful. So that's KWZ Gummy Berry. Great name. And then KWZ Turquoise. Bay State Blue, a very scary ink. And Eel Black. I do like how this looks. It's quite pretty. It's like a brown color. And the tip looks good. Doesn't look like it's been damaged. All right, so we'll move into some samples. So I'll be going down in order of the inks, so Noodler's Eel Black, then Noodler's Bay State Blue, followed by KWZ in Turquoise, and then Gummy Berry, and lastly Platinum Lavender Black. I decided for this time I would use the dip pen just to also try it out, but in the future I will be using a wide and narrower nib to give you a better sampling of what it will look like in different situations. Now that first ink, the Noodler's Eel Black, definitely came off as more gray to me. I shook it up afterwards to just double check and make sure that that wasn't the problem, and it wasn't. And I believe that I had a bottle of this in the past. I've been using fountain pens for over 12 years now, so things get kind of muddled. But yeah, it's definitely more of a gray. It's very desaturated for a black. As for the dip pen, it surprised me with how broad it was. It had a very large tip, and the first letter would kind of glorp onto the page, and then by 5 words later there would be nothing left on the nib, and it was kind of trickled down to about a fine with how much it was putting on the page. So it's not bad for a little freebie that they're including for your first pack, but it's definitely not something I can see myself using in the future. But it is nice that they try to make sure that you had something on hand in order to swatch these colors with. Now, Bay State Blue here is an infamous ink. If you know much about fountain pens or ink, you've probably heard of Bay State Blue. It is a very bright, lovely color, and it's very known for getting kind of all over the place. It'll stain your dog, it'll stain your pen, it'll stain your desk. I've seen a lot of pictures of it staining everything. So you do have to be exceptionally careful with where you're putting this and what pen you're putting it into. But that being said, it does have a water-resistant quality that will be showing off later, and it is a very beautiful blue. The next 2 inks are the KWZ IG inks in Turquoise and Gummy Berry. The IG stands for Iron Gall. Now, Iron Gall has above average acidity, and there is a warning on Truphae's site for the KWZ inks that you should not keep these stored in a pen for a long time. And personally, that makes me pretty nervous to put that in an expensive pen, especially considering my tendencies. I would probably throw it in a desk, forget it, and have that corrosion happen to a nice pen. So do be careful with what you're putting this in, and that is kind of unfortunate in this case because I did like these two a lot, but that does give me some hesitation. Also, I have a bad habit of focusing too much on my lettering and misspelling things because of that, so don't mind the turquoise. I know how to spell it. Now, a little bit as to the properties of these inks. The Black Eel and the Bay State Blue have some lubrication and wetness to them. The Eel series is specifically supposed to add some lubrication to the writing experience. The KWZs were definitely more average in that regard, but still very pleasant, and Platinum Classic Lavender Black is kind of the same in that regard. Lavender Black had some show through, and Bay State Blue had some bleed through, which you should expect from that ink. I do find it fun watching Platinum Lavender Black dry from that gorgeous, vibrant color to a more muted one. I'm really getting more and more fond of this ink, especially I didn't really understand that it had a water-resistant property to it, so I like that as well. Now here's a closer look at those inks, and we're going to go ahead and tear off that page. Now here's our final look at it before we put these to the test. So of course, when you have something slated as a waterproof ink, what else can you do but throw it in some water? So we're bringing out the bucket. I've always wanted to do this. So for this test, I decided I would put that piece of paper in water for 5 minutes and see how it holds up. So here we go, submerging this all. And you can see even in the first few seconds of me putting this in here that some of the colors start to kind of spread and leak into the water. So I expected that there would be some color spreading as well. But I'll fast forward to after those 5 minutes and show you what we got. So Noodler's Black Eel held up the best. Bay State Blue also did formidably, but it had spread, and the other three kind of lost their color. But you can still read them. You can see the color left behind in the water there. But yes, after that, I laid them out to dry on some paper towel. So here they are, and it took about an hour for them to fully dry. Nothing really changed in the period of time for me taking out of the water and it fully drying. I think everything looked as legible as it did before. And again, you can see everything is still readable. So, not bad. So as for my thoughts for this first look at the Truphae pen palette, I think this was fun and I think pretty reasonable for $13. So I'm going to keep going from here as this was a pretty positive experience. I would say my biggest criticism at this point is the labeling of the ink samples. I really think they could do a better job to put the color on the vial itself, because at this point you'll have to keep it in the bag with the kind of key card or relabel it yourself, or otherwise, swab it every time you want to know it's in there, which I don't think is ideal. Beyond that, because these are themed packs, if you happen to not like a whole theme in particular, you're kind of getting a wasted monthly lot of them. So you have to be the kind of person who will try anything or doesn't mind getting a month or two that doesn't work for you at all. So we'll see how this continues, but for now I'm pretty happy. Thank you for joining me on this, and have a good one. Bye!